Hi everyone, welcome back to the tutorial. In this session, we're going to be looking at the relationship between the activities. Previous tutorial, we explained, we look at the creation of activities. So how the activities are created in Primavera P6. And this is the Excel file that I used, and we're going to do something similar to this Excel file with the relationship. However, copy the last project and put it under this activities EPS. And before we start working on it, let's look at the default setting for the project. Have the duration type, percentage complete type, activities type. Yes, you can see the calendar. Yes, there are different type of activities, finish milestone, level of effort, resource dependent, start milestone, task dependent, and the previous summary. So all these activities has their various usefulness, but by default, all activities in P6 is task dependent. So it means they depend on the job that's being done. Yes, you can see the calendar, you can see the default ID that I set to. So let's look at the dates for the project too, the plan start date, the data date. So I want to open on the project. Now we can see the activities. These are just domain activities. No relationship yet. When I click on the relationship tab, there's no relationship. Click on the relationship tab, no relationship. So everything is still empty. And yes, we'll start establishing the usually from the top, usually the first milestone. And when you select an activities, go to the general tab, you can see the details about the activities. The activities type I mentioned before, finish, level of effort, and the rest. The duration type, the percentage complete type, all these are defaults. So in the course of the tutorial, I'll also be creating videos on all these type of activities and how you can use them, how they'll be useful to you. Look at the status tab, resource tab, we'll use them later. The one that's of concern to us right now is the relationship tab. The code, yes, activities code, we'll also do it later. So if you stick with me throughout this tutorial series. For now, we are going to do the relationship for this schedule that we're using as sample. So on the relationship tab, you have the predecessor and the successor. Take note. Your left is predecessor, your right is successor. So for you to use the predecessor, just click on assign. So you pick an activity and you make the other activity predecessor to it. It means the predecessor will come before the activity. Like in this case, the predecessor to the building design or design building is start building of it, which is a milestone. Start office building is a milestone. So it's just milestone is just a point, right, of reference in the project, or a point of importance. Okay. And usually cost milestone is being used because we know when to make payment and when to ask for payment. So we'll talk about this later too. The next I want to establish is the other activities under engineering design. I think is the review of the design. So the review has to come after design. So it makes sense. So therefore, design, building, addition is predecessor to the review, right? So you can see start building is the predecessor to design, successor to building is the review. Now look at the next one is the design for the heat pump. So this one can run together with the design for the building. So I'll make it predecessor. However, it's going to be start to start. So yes, I will explain what we mean by start to start. So under relationship, predecessor and successor, we have relation. So this relation is what shows you what is connecting the activity together. Is it start to start, finish to start finish, or finish finish? Usually the best thing you should be using is finish start. That's what gives you the best logic, which is the critical path method that's being used to design the software. So the other type of relationship like start finish should be avoided. Start start and finish finish should be used minimally. So we'll also look at the rules later in the tutorial. I will show you how to check your schedule heads. So I'm establishing relationship. So I also link the review of the heat pump design to the design, yes, for the heat pump. And it makes sense because, yes, after the heat pump is being designed, the data is available, it can be reviewed. So as you can see, it's a predecessor. So I established relationship for the activity under engineering. Now, the remaining from foundation to the end, I'm just going to highlight everything and link them. Right click and link them. How do I do that? I select the first activity here. I scroll to the end, press my save key and click. Everything will be highlighted. Then I can right click and choose link option from the menu. So this is a faster way of establishing logic. However, I just want to show you because some of you watching the tutorial might be a beginner. This is a faster way if you want to get a quick way of looking. However, it's not going to give you a perfect relationship because in reality, all the activities are not finished to start. There is going to be always some activity that will run together, yes, and those ones are going to be start to start. So as you can see, all the activities by default, when I link them, they are finished, except for the milestone. For the milestone, well, this one you can see is finish because it's a finished milestone. For start milestone, you can see this one too. It's start because it's a start milestone. So now I run the schedule. Otherwise, it's also called F9. So you can press F9 key on your keyboard if it works for you. But you can click on this run schedule button to see the effect. So for us to see the effect better, we have to check or look at the Gantt chart. You can see the Gantt chart and everything is red from under foundation to the end because the logic is finished. It means one activity has to finish before the next starts. So all of them is critical. They are all critical because if one is delayed, it will delay the successor, the one after it. But I've not linked the one under engineering to them, so I see it's still green. So now I'm going to link the latest date under engineering activities to these other activities that is critical. So, and I'm going to link it to the first activity under this foundation WPS. I do that and I run it. You can see under engineering too, we're going to have red horizontal bar, which is the Gantt chart. You can see it's now red. So I linked it and it is now showing critical uh, horizontal bar, which is the red horizontal bar on the Gantt chart. So now we have linked our activity from beginning to the end. However, we still need to check the activities, the logic, because some of the activities can run together. While some of them, because we link all of them by default, are not even supposed to be connected to each other. So we're going to start checking and removing them and reassigning them. Yes, For some people, the first thing I did under the engineering, doing it one by one to the end, might be the best bet for them. Yes. But doing it faster like this too, I also work for some. But take note of what I did here. I make this activity start to start, and I had a lag of 6 days. I will also make this one start to start, and I had a lag of 2 days. What is the lag? The lag is saying they will start at start to start, but the predecessor will be 2 days later. So finish means the activities will finish together. Finish start means predecessor will finish before successor start. Start finish, it doesn't make sense as a logic, so don't use it. Right? So this one the lag is 6 days. As you can see, it start. It means the successor will wait 6 days after the predecessor start. Another thing we can have is lead. That will be negative lag. It means the predecessor will start. If it is -6, it means to start 6 days before the successor start. While lag, which is positive, it means it will start 6 days after the predecessor has started. So just take notes. This is what we call relationship, or here is relation, but that is the bottom line foundation for establishing relationship. Next, we do the logic for the remaining. As you can see, I'm establishing a relationship, so I'm changing this one. I added 3 days lag, so it will start. Although it starts to start, but it starts 2 days later. So this will also be start to start. So take note, start to start means the activities can run together. So part of the thing you consider is the resource availability, safety, risk, and so many things before it's being decided. However, this is for the sake of this tutorial, I'm just demonstrating how it is done so that you can practice. Yes, I will continue to share more video to explain the advanced part of um, decision making, and also how the estimation and the the basis for most of these things are being established. So for this, I feel this one also should be linked to something else. So therefore, we have two predecessors for that activity. It means two activities you're going to drive it. If any of those two activities is delayed, it's going to delay that activity. So you can have more than one predecessor. You can have more than two, depending on the type of project. So now we move under mechanical and electrical system. Under mechanical and electrical system, so the logic is there. I need to remove it. So by removing it, I'll be able to link to the appropriate activities. So take note, I copy the ID here to use to establish the logic. So by using the ID, it's faster. So copy, you just select the ID and Ctrl C to copy. I also look at the other milestone there. A milestone usually should be linked to the activity they are driving. If it is a start milestone, it should be a predecessor to the activity that is driving. If it is finished milestone, it should be a successor to the activity that is driving. So anything other than that is not a properly uh, linked logic. So under this structure, that's what I'm trying to establish, because begin structural phase is a start milestone. So it should be linked to the activity that is starting that structural uh, phase under the structure WBS. And you can see it's been linked to foundation, while the other ones are finish start, finish start. So by looking at the date, you can also tell which activities come after which activity. As you can see, this one is April to May 2026, and duration is 27 days for the corporate um, work. So when we look at some of these activities, they can run together, right? So this milestone is established, the other milestone is also established. So we can we can check, as you can see from the detail view, but this milestone rough incomplete is not linked to the right activity. So I'm going to remove and re-establish the logic. So I'm now linking this activity under the elevator to that milestone. So this is how we establish a relationship. It's something that should be patiently done, um, because most time the schedule is is the the like the basis to judge the project. Everybody will ask, and when management come, they ask where is the schedule. So they use the schedule to judge your performance, which how you're doing, what you say you're going to do, and how you're doing. So, and yes, what I said literally is called hand value, hand value management. Because of this tutorial, we're also going to look at how to use P6 to understand the hand value management and the basis as regard P6. But what I'm explaining here right now is the relationship. And after establishing any change, it is best to run the schedule to see the changes you have made. Right? So under exterior finish, we have two milestones, start and finish milestone. So I need to check whether it's properly linked. If it's not linked, I will remove it and link it to the right activities. Take note, I said start milestone should be linked to the activities that is going to drive, while finish milestone should be linked to a successor to activity that is driving the milestone. And that's what I'm trying to check here. As you can see, the activities I'm linking to the activity. Always pause to be very sure of the activities I link the other one to check it. Like I said, I'm also upload the Excel file with you that I'm using for this schedule in case you want to practice along with the tutorial. But for this schedule, because I just want it to be a fast one, so I link everything and so that we can get a faster result. However, doing it this way might not give us the best optimized schedule. So most time we're still going to review it uh, to ensure that the date reflects the contract or what the project team is expecting, the expectation of the project team, or we have to review it to ensure that the schedule meet the objective of a project. So some of the objective is okay, by so date this project will finish, right? So that's how we are going to continue to remove the logic and connect to the other one, on connect to the other activities. In some cases, you use your lag, use your stats to start your relationship, which means some activities can run together. And in planning and scheduling, this is also called schedule compression principle or method, where we have fast tracking and crashing. So some of these things I will do it practically in another tutorial and explain how it is done. But right now, what I'm establishing is relationship. As you can see, I've established everything. All this is start to start, start to start. That's why the Gantt chart is red. Or I'm just double checking if the logic I established is in line or it makes sense. Okay, what do we mean by it makes sense? The activities, can they run together when I'm making it finish start? It's supposed to be start to start, but I'm making it finish start. Then take note, I said you run the schedule to see the changes. By the time you run it, you see it change, the date will change, you align based on the change you have made. One thing to take note of is this project starts 15th of September 2025, finish September 2027. But what I have here is finishing 2029. That is like 2 years difference. So it means I still have a lot of optimization to do on this schedule. So this optimization we're going to do in the next series of this tutorial. So this is going to be part 1. The next one is going to be part 2. Another thing I want to show you here is, you can see I check log to file, apply the sheet and check log to file, and I'll run the schedule because I want to fill the log later. So take note. Now we'll go back to run the schedule again and fill the log. So when I fill the log, you can see the log file is showing me the basic information about my schedule. So one thing I want you to note here is the activities without predecessor. You should only have one. Add a rabbit to it means we need to correct it. The first one is fine because it's a start milestone, but building enclosed is a problem. We need to correct it. It means there is a dangling activities and project. For the successor, we can correct it later, but for the predecessor, we need to correct it so that to establish our workflow perfectly. That is at the basic, at the minimum. And the right practice is to have only one activity without predecessor and one activity without successor. However, at the beginning, we should establish all activity without um, to make them to have only one without predecessor. Then later we can correct the one for the successor because it's the predecessor that is driving the critical part, that is obeying the rules of critical path method. So now I've seen the activities, I'm going to link it to the right one. So I'm making it a successor to these activities. And by so doing, it will become a predecessor to this activity. So therefore, when you check the log now, you see that it's gone. It's no longer there. So we only have one activity. And the successor are still open dangling, but it's fine for now. You can correct it in the subsequent tutorial, and I'll show you how to correct it. So the schedule is pretty much ready. The only issue is that the date, finish date, is still too far from our expectation. Let's say the expectation of the team. As you can see on what I show you here. So, and we're going to show you how to correct this in the next part of this tutorial. Thank you for staying up to this point in this tutorial. Try to practice and drop your comments, and please subscribe if you like to see more of the training. And if you have any question, drop your comments. I will respond to it.